Good morning, class. I am Miss Khyati Dwarkadas, your economics teacher. All these years, you may have studied social sciences, but it was always divided into history, civics, or political science, and geography. And this is the first time that you will be studying economics as a branch of social sciences. Hence, today we shall start with an introduction to the basic concepts of economics. So now, when you look at these pictures, you are seeing that we are looking at the word economy. Economy is basically a time to stimulate the economy of the government with government spending. And where is the government going to spend? On the people. Once the government spends for the people, it will lead to prosperity. So what is economics? Economics is a social science devoted to the study of how people and societies get what they need and what they want. In more formal language, economics is the study of how societies divide and use their resources to produce goods and services, and of how those goods and services are then distributed and consumed. In simpler words, economics studies man's economic behavior concerned with bringing about a balance between multiple wants and limited means in such a manner that maximum satisfaction can be obtained. Economics is the study of how people choose to use their scarce resources in an attempt to satisfy their unlimited wants. So what are resources then? Resources are the basic ingredients that are needed to produce the goods and services that people buy. These ingredients can be physical things like land and factory equipment. They can be intangible things like intellectual and emotional capacities of people whose work is necessary for the production of goods and services. Whether a society is rich or poor, large or small, resources are far from the viewpoint of economics scarce. So, economics can be understood better from the study of economic problems. And economic problems arise due to the scarcity of resources in comparison to the multiple wants of people. And that is our fundamental problem, scarcity. If you notice, on one side we have virtually unlimited human wants. And if you notice, human wants actually remain unlimited, like food, clothing, shelter, security, comfort, medicine, jewelry, affection, transportation, good health, children, diet, knowledge, convenience, recognition, travel, wisdom, recreation, control, respect, environment, love, and name it, and it's all a part of the want. But then what are the limited resources and time that we have? Land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. So what do we now mean by scarce resources? This means that everyone in our country would like more goods and services that can ever be produced. Given a limited supply of resources and an unlimited desire on the part of the individual, the consumers, the nations, choices must be made about what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. And making such difficult decisions is called economics. Who is an economist? Economists study these often difficult choices and their significance. They come up with theories about how such choices are made on both the individual and collective levels, and they try to make predictions and find solutions to a wide range of societal problems. So, as your homework, I need you to find out the names of 5 famous economists and write them in your notebook. As I had mentioned earlier, economics is the science which studies human behavior as a relationship between the ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. And Lionel Robin has given us this definition. In economics, it is famously known as the Robin's definition and is the most widely accepted definition. We now need to understand the difference between needs and wants. If you notice, there is a glass of water in one of these pictures. This glass of water is our need. We need it for our survival. We can't do without a glass of water. But on the other hand, there's a fruit juice, there's a coffee cup, there is lots of soft drinks. We can do without any of them, but we want them. Just as we want a pizza, a burger, or pani puri, we want them, but we can't survive without them. So a need is something we can't survive without. We make choices about how we spend our money, our time, our energy, so we can fulfill our needs and wants. And therefore, we ask ourselves these questions: what are wants and needs? Wants are goods and services which we would really like to have, like fancy food, ice cream, shelter, clothing, big screen TV, jewelry, conveniences or comforts like an additional fan in the classroom, or even more still, a luxury or a status symbol, an air-conditioned classroom, or a state-of-the-art school. So those would be your luxuries. However, needs are necessary for survival. These are goods and services we must have to survive. Generally, roti, kapda and makan would go as needs. Food, clothing and shelter. Therefore, you need to remember this thin line of difference between needs and wants. Since wants are unlimited and resources are limited, we cannot satisfy all our wants. This gives rise to the problem of choice. That is the problem of how to use our scarce resources to attain maximum satisfaction. We need to make our choices. What goods and services to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Now, economics is divided into 2 main branches, and there are 2 broad branches of economics: macroeconomics and microeconomics. And just as the name suggests, macro is large, micro is small. So when we talk about macroeconomics, it studies the behavior of the economy as a whole. It studies national aggregate, like aggregate demand and aggregate supply. It studies national economic problems like inflation, unemployment, poverty, and issues connected with economic growth and economic development. So as I told you, it deals with the big picture. The choices are here made by large groups and large countries. Micro is small. Microeconomic studies a part of the economy and not the whole economy. It is thus a branch of economics which analyzes economic units such as individuals, consumers, industry and factory owners, individual firms, group of individual units such as various industries and markets. It focuses on supply and demand and other forces that determine the price levels in the economy. So remember, microeconomics and macroeconomics are two different perspectives on the economy. The microeconomic perspective focuses on parts of the economy, individuals, firms, industries, while macroeconomic perspective looks at the economy as a whole, focusing on the goals like growth in the standard of living, unemployment, inflation, etc. This brings us to a new economic concept called utility. Utility is a measure of satisfaction an individual gets from the consumption of commodities. In other words, it is a measurement of usefulness that a consumer obtains from any good. It is the want satisfying power or capacity of a commodity. When a consumer buys a commodity, he expects to get a benefit in the form of satisfaction of a certain want. This benefit or satisfaction experienced by the consumer is referred to by economists as utility. For example, rotten mangoes cannot satisfy anyone's want, so no one will want to buy or demand for rotten mangoes. But a man will go and watch a movie and buy an ice cream if he wants to. This is because he has the capacity to satisfy his want. Hence, utility is the basis of demand. It simply means the ability to satisfy human wants. So our next concept is going to be economic and non-economic activity. What is economic activity? Any activity which is undertaken to earn an income is called an economic activity. I repeat, activities that are undertaken to earn an income are called economic activities. For example, a chef cooking in a restaurant, a teacher teaching in a school, a doctor working in a clinic, a lawyer in the court, a businessman, a professional. All of these are working to earn an income. This is called economic activity. Economic activities lead to an increase in personal income of the individual. Economic activities contribute to the flow of goods and services in an economy. They add value to the national income. However, non-economic activities are those activities which are taken out of love, affection, and social work but do not give any monetary gain. I repeat, non-economic activities are undertaken out of love, affection, and social work and do not give any monetary gain. There is no income earned in a non-economic activity. Simple examples: the chef now or a mother cooking for her child at home, or a teacher teaching her own child at home, or a doctor treating his or her own child at home. So all of these are not going to be earning any income. At the same time, in social work, you have the famous example of Mother Teresa or any other NGO for that matter who is not earning an income, and it does not increase the personal income of any individual, and non-economic activities do not even contribute to the flow of goods and services in an economy. They do not add value to national income. The four factors of production that we have been talking about have been just shown to you. However, we shall be dealing with them at a later stage in a future unit. So these are the four factors of production: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is the skill used by the entrepreneur to put together the above three factors of production. Now we have investment as a topic. So before we come to consumer and capital goods, we need to talk about investment. Money allocated by businessmen to solve business-related problems is called investment. I repeat, money allocated by businessmen to solve business-related problems is called investment. When we come to the category of goods, we talk about two particular categories of goods, and they are capital goods and consumer goods. Capital goods are used in producing other goods rather than being bought by consumers. Capital goods are tangible assets such as building machinery, tools, vehicles that an organization uses to produce goods and services in order to produce consumer goods for other businesses. However, consumer goods are those goods that are brought by consumers rather than manufacturers for producing other goods. Consumer goods are ultimately consumed as final goods by the consumer. For example, jewelry, appliances, food, clothing, automobiles, etc. There's one more kind of capital that we need to deal with, which is human capital. Human capital is the measure of skill, education, capacity, and attribute embodied in individuals or group of individuals that are used to produce goods and services. Human capital is a quantification of economic value of a worker's skill. So human capital is a quantification of economic value of a worker's skill set. Now, let us first summarize what we have done till here. Economic studies the man's economic behavior concerned with bringing about a balance between multiple wants and limited means in such a manner that maximum satisfaction can be obtained. Economics can be understood better from the study of economic problems. Economic problems arise due to the scarcity of resources in comparison to multiple wants of people. Scarcity is a situation where we have unlimited wants but limited resources. Human wants are unlimited and productive resources such as land, labor, natural resources, raw materials, capital equipment, etc. are scarce. This gives rise to the problem of choice, that is, how to use scarce resources to attain maximum satisfaction. Now, I need you to open your economics notebook, and in the notebook, on the first page after the cover page, I need you to draw anything that is related to economics. You will draw and color an image related to economics on the first inside page of your notebook. On the next page, you will write the title, the date, and the questions from the next slide. You may form your own answers based on this lesson that you have seen and from the textbook. So what is economics? Yeah, that's your first question. Mind you, when you look at this slide, each question is given separately to you. What is economics? Next question. What are the branches of economics? Name them. What is utility? Explain with the help of an example. Distinguish between needs and wants with the help of one example. What is investment? Explain economic and non-economic activity with the help of an example each. What is production? What are the factors of production? Differentiate between consumer goods and capital goods. These answers you will have written in your notebook. You could have formed these answers by viewing and reviewing this presentation lesson, as well as using the textbook to locate some of the answers. Until we meet again, thank you and goodbye.